Hello everyone, welcome to my third Fair Not Friday, and I have no idea what that intro was, just ignore it. I'm actually still a bit sick, it's insane, my voice it's back, but it's very weak and I have coughing fits all the time, so I hope I can do this without coughing to death. This time we're doing something a little bit different. I think I'm gonna say that every time, but anyway. I'm doing an animation this time. I actually love to animate, and a few years ago I wanted to be an animator, but I felt I was too lazy to actually learn how to animate. I feel it, took too much time and just was too hard, so I sort of gave up. But then this year I started to do it for fun, just try and see if it was as hard as I remember, etc. And I ended up just loving it. So I've been doing some small exercises and just animating for fun. And right now I'm working on a small a video for Christmas. My deadline is that it will be finished to Christmas. And I also have been doing a lot of GIFs, just playing around with animating in Photoshop. So I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna do one Fan Art Friday with animation too, because why not? And that's why this video is so long. I said I wanted the videos to be at least 10 minutes and as long as 20 minutes, but I'm just gonna scrap that because I never know how long these videos are gonna be, especially now when I, animate and just realized, this shit takes so much time. But it was fun. I actually counted how long it took me to do this with all the recorded footage. It took me 17 hours. 17 hours, I think that was it. So everything you see here is sped up so quick and took me totally of 17 hours. Or 13 hours, I need to check that. Something like that. It's quite insane when you look at this and just, yeah, wow. Okay, so what am I actually animating? Hard to explain. Those of you who know what this is I'm animating will just think, dude, what the fuck, why are you animating this? And those of you who don't know, you don't know. Okay, so explaining time, because this is so hard to explain. There is a studio in Belgium. I love Belgium as country and just as a place. I said that in my Tintin video, I think too. But yeah, and they have a studio making animated cartoons, 3D animated cartoons, and live action, children's shows, programs and shows for children and teenagers, mostly kids, for kids. And it's called Studio 100, Studio 100, I think it is in Flemish. My Flemish is horrible, so excuse that. Anyway, and since March of this year, I discovered them again. So, I was a bit of a hype about their musicals in 2012, but this year I discovered it again, and for some reason it just has stuck with me, and I have loved to watch the shows and everything, which is insane because it's for kids, but I love shows for kids. It's one of the biggest joys I have in life, is watching kids shows and just watch how the story, how they've written the story and how the characters are and what kind of moral it is, and the actors especially. I love watching actors in kids shows, and also because it was such a great way for me to practice Flemish, to listen to it and see how much I've learned. And since March I have learned so much from just listening to these shows that I understand 90% of everything I listen to when it comes to Flemish right now, or Dutch. Which is insane, but that's, another topic. So since then I have been crazy about their shows, and I think in August I discovered The Nachtwacht, which is a teenage show about 3 magical kids or teenagers. I think they're supposed to be teenagers, but you know the actors are 20 something. Yeah, they can turn into these magical creatures, an elf, a vampire, and werewolf. I forgot that word for a second, sorry. And I just love it so much. It's so corny at times, it's really corny, but it's also so cool. And I love the makeup and the effects, and yeah, it's just one of those, man, this is so corny, but I love it so much kind of shows. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna draw these characters as they transform, because it's a perfect way to practice animation. It's just, you know, a simple loop of the character transforming for a second or two and then going back to a neutral state. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing one of the characters. Her name is Keelin. She's an elf, basically. A magical elf. And at first, if you go back and look at the beginning, I am actually doing a sketch of all 3 characters. But in the end, I decided that I'm just gonna do one of them for this video, because I realized pretty quickly that this was gonna take me forever to do just one of them. So I will save the other 2 for some other time when I'm not as busy as I am right now, because I'm quite busy right now with a lot of stuff I'm doing. So yeah, what I'm actually doing in the video right now is I've done the sketches for, I've done poses for the neutral state and when she's transformed and one in between, I think. And now I've just animated the hands as they are supposed to be when animated, to see how many frames I need, if it looks clean and everything. That is one of the most fun parts of animation, doing the quick just animation and see that, oh yeah, this works, this looks like it moves and everything. And now I'm doing one of the most tedious things, which is actually animating and filling out that, giving it some meat. And yeah, and it's fun, but it takes so much time. But it's fun. This was also a great exercise for me in doing something a bit more, what should I say, clean. The things I've done before is just simple GIFs. I've done very simple stuff up till now. So this was one of my more fleshed out animations, I think. A very much smaller line art, first off, and clothes that move and everything. Trying to keep everything the same size and everything. And I failed a little bit in the end with her face. But when I realized that, I was too lazy to go back and fix it. And also I didn't have the time. And in the end, I'm also not 100% sure about her arms. They're a bit clunky, I think the word is. It could have been much smoother. But as it is, I'm still fairly happy with it. Especially since, you know, I haven't animated at all. I've been animating for about a month now. Just trying to learn everything and get the hang of it. And also I'm animating with a mouse. As I said before, I don't have a tablet. I'm doing this with a freaking mouse and it takes forever. But it's fun, it's fine, it works. I was trying at first to just, you know, I wonder if I can reverse, just animate the hands going up and then reverse it as they go down and see if it looks good, if I could cheat that way and just, you know, that because if you can cheat in that way, it just is so much easier but I couldn't. It just looked ridiculous, and I wanted her hands to go down slower than they went up, and I wanted also her hands to, you know, actually touch her shoulders and then go down. And yeah, I had a vision of how I wanted it to be, so I had to animate them going up, and then I had to animate them going down separately, which in the end was for the best, I think. I also realized something I haven't realized before, that her eyes in the show, they are brown, but when she transforms, they are ice blue, and they are so beautiful. And I knew they were blue. I knew her transformed eyes were blue, ice blue, and they are so beautiful. But I didn't realize her normal eyes, or you know, her normal eye color was brown. I haven't thought about that before, but I just realized that I think yesterday, actually. And the reason why I didn't know that is because her eyes are closed in this animation, so I haven't really thought about her eye color at all, except for when she's transformed, which is, you know, blue. So it was one of those mindfuck kind of things. Just, whoa, wait, what? Here I'm drawing a hand, which is stupid because I will remove it soon, I think. Yeah, exactly. This pose is so interesting. I knew because I wanted her to, as I said, touch her shoulders and then slide down the arms in a very relaxed pose when she put her hands down. But I have never ever drawn hands in that pose before, so it was very interesting. And even though it felt so wrong while I draw it, or while I was sketching it and drew it, it actually looks okay. So that's why it's good to just draw a skeleton first and just go for it and see, you know, does this work? And then, oh, well, yeah, would you look at that? It actually does work. I absolutely love her clothes too. She have in the shows she has a white jacket sort of thing that she wears at times, and it's also beautiful. The most beautiful thing in the show is absolutely Keelin when she's transformed. She is so beautiful. It was one of the things that made me, you know, want to watch the show, despite how corny it is, because I use that word too much and I always say it wrong. Because. So sorry about that. Anyway, because I saw her eyes and her makeup and everything, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. This is really cool. I really wish there was some way that you can watch the show outside of Belgium, because right now it's super hard to find any real episodes. What you saw right there was how the arms were done. I'm finally done with the arms, animating the arms, and for me that was that was the hardest point. So the face and the arms are done. The hardest thing is done. So now it's basically just me animating the rest and then putting on some colors and stuff, which took me far too much time, but than I thought it would. But it wasn't as hard and didn't take that much, you know, thoughts as the arms did, since they were the hardest part. What was I saying? Yeah, it's so hard to find the episodes and the stuff outside of Belgium. They are showing the episodes on Ketnet, I think it's called, which is a children's broadcasting TV stuff, like Nickelodeon, you know. But well, and they have a website and everything, but if you don't live in Belgium, you can't watch the shows, and it makes me so mad because I want to watch them. And Studio 100 have other shows online on YouTube, on their official, you know, channels and everything. But this show isn't out yet like that, and it's hell. I think I've seen 3 episodes total, I mean, that I've found online at places. Here she's getting her smooth eyelashes, which is, you know, awesome. These boots are awful. I hate drawing boots or shoes, but I must practice to draw them just because I hate drawing boots and shoes, so I never do. And these are so simple if you compare them to, you know, her actual shoes in the show. Here is me basically going on while I draw them over and over and over and over again. And I know there are people out there who will say, but why don't you just copy, you know, a layer and don't draw them over and over again? And the reason for that is because I think it's so stiff. When you just copy it, when you draw it over again, it becomes fluent. You can see that it's a new drawn frame. It has much more life to it than if you just copy it. So that's the reason. I don't know if it's a good reason, but it's the reason. I am one of those people. I realized I want to draw everything frame by frame. I don't want to half-ass anything. But at the same time, I need to learn how to do that because it saves time at times to actually, you know, copy layers and be a bit lazy when it comes to animation. This was also one of the funniest things to animate hair. I hate animate hair. There was a point, I think, in 2014 when I was about to animate a music video to a song, and I still want to make that music video now again. Now I actually know a bit how to animate and stuff. Anyway, I was sorry. I was doing that animation, and I started doing it, and I was animating hair. And I realized, whoa, this is hard. Like one of the most hardest things I've ever done, animating hair. And now I think it's one of the most fun thing to animate because it has really no rules. It's heavy, but it's not, you know, stone heavy. It still flies in the wind, and yeah, it has its own rules. I think it's wonderful. Clothes, on the other hand, is just awful. It's fun to animate, sure, but it's harder. And here you see me trying to animate it in a simple way. I have those eureka moments when I try to animate something and it just doesn't go as I want to. And then I stop for a moment and realize, wait, how does this actually move in real life? And then I can do it. It's like when you get a blue screen on your computer and you start the computer over and suddenly it's much more smooth than it was before. That's my brain when I animate. It's like, wait, hold on. Oh, I get it. So you will see me do that soon when I start doing the hair. This skirt took ridiculously short time for me to animate. I was sure I was gonna be stuck on it for so long, but I wasn't, and I'm happy about that. It literally took me the first time drawing that, and I was happy with it. And I'm so happy. I was expected to draw that, 5 to 10 times before being happy, and it works immediately. I'm so happy when that happens. Here it is, my failed attempt at animating hair, and I realized immediately, like, whoa, this looks horrible, I can't do it like this, I need to redo it. And I did redo it, and I was looking at it, to see, does this work at all? And it worked very well, and I decided to use that. So, second try, and I could animate the hair. Fantastic. And with that, the line art is done, which is fantastic. It was now, at this point, when I started to, here it is in full speed. Yay! Line art is done. And now when I'm going to add colors, it was when I realized that I needed to have a final version of this in my head before actually putting on colors, because I was unsure how much detail I wanted and if I wanted shadows, etc. And here I have trouble with the brown page once again. Always brown. Brown giving me trouble. Anyway. So, but I decided to start with just adding the flat colors as closely as I could to her original design. There is, I'm sure there's a better way to do this when it comes to coloring, but I didn't know any better way, so I did this. Making every frame has its own color layer, with me just coloring in the lines and everything. And no, you can use the fill bucket tool, I think it's called, and just click and it's done. But the thing is, I didn't want to do this here. I wanted to have the line art free, and the other thing I could have done is just duplicate the line art and use that and fill in everything. I was close to doing that, but for some reason I decided to do this instead, and I don't know why. I think it would have been much quicker for me to actually use the fill bucket, because this is, you don't know how quickly this is sped up, but this is, I think, 50 times the sped up, because this literally took me hours to do, and I was getting so mad because it took so much time and was so boring eventually. It looks good though, but yeah, you get a whole new appreciation for people who do this, in real life. And I just keep thinking back at when they were animating Snow White and coloring every frame by hand with this with colors, and I'm getting tired of doing this, which is at least 10 times faster than what they did back in the days. So can't complain, I will do that anyway. I'm really curious about the story behind the characters in Nachtwacht, because I have no idea about the background story. I just know that they are kids living in this town and they have to save this town from the magical creatures, and no one can know that they are magical of the normal people living in the town. For some reason it has to be a secret. Hush hush. Also there's a man in a book, and yeah, the show is nuts and I love it to death. It's wonderful. Also, I follow some of the actors on Instagram, which is lovely. They are such wonderful people. I just love Flemish people, dude. They are wonderful people. So yeah, if anyone out there actually watch this show and is from Belgium or anything, and know why these creatures are in Schemermeer and doing this, please tell me. There is actually coming a movie about this in December this year, and I am so sad because I can't watch it. It will be aired in Belgium and I think also in the Netherlands in December, and I can't watch it. I have to wait for someone to illegally download it or upload it or anything so I can watch it, which is sad because I want to watch it. I could buy it, I could buy the DVD, but then I have to wait for the DVD to come out. And she has flat colors. Fantastic. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna actually try something new. And I'm gonna give her shadows. This is the first time I'm shadowing? This is the first time I'm giving shadows to an animation that I've done, which is so much fun. It's really good to not exercise yourself. What's it called? Test yourself. That's the word. It's really good to test yourself at times and just do new things. Do things that you think are too hard, and do things that you know, this is gonna take me so much time and I don't know this yet, maybe it will look horrible, but do it. Just try new things. It's so important if you want to learn and if you want to do things, new things, and be better as an artist. It's so important. And oh my god, her face is so wonky. Don't look at the still frames. Eye color. Fantastic. And glowing too, of course they are. It was at this point too I realized, because I haven't closed the animation thingy you see in Photoshop. If I can close it, but before I usually deleted all the frames and then worked on some stuff and then entered all the frames again. I didn't do that this time, so everything was in its place, and I started to be so afraid that if this somehow would be removed from the time frame in the Photoshop animation thingy, I would have to do it all again, and I was unsure of where everything was. So at this point I just sped through everything to be done as quickly as possible so I could save it. So if everything would go wrong, I at least had a saved, thing. I'm cleaning up everything now too, outside, because I had colors everywhere. And that also took me such a long time, too much time. I wanted to give her some more magical thing to her. So I gave her a blueness, I guess. So when she transforms, it becomes very blue. And here's the background. And here's the final picture or animation. Yay! Transparent and with a background. That is that. Thank you so much. I have much more I wanted to say, but I will take that for another day. I will say that for another day. Thank you so much for watching and everything. I love you all, and I hope you like it, and I'll see you next Final Friday. Bye bye.